All right, guys, it's Saturday, which means another deep dive, but a deep dive that's very long form. And today I've got another 100 fragrances to talk to you about. Fragrances that are really great quality, but all under $50. So a great video of quality offerings that you can get and it won't break the bank. And with the way things are in the world these days, fragrances are getting really, really expensive. I've basically highlighted really great quality offerings, mostly designers, some niche offerings, but not super niche. But again, all under $50 here. And again, these are approved by me. I've either worn them or wear them now. And I tried to make sure the video is full of fragrances you can buy physically. There are a few fragrances that I'm going to talk to you about that are a bit more difficult to get, but are so super quality that I wanted to feature in this video. But this video is full of fragrances that you can easily buy. In fact, all the fragrances should be tagged. And as I'm talking about them, the product shows up on screen. You can click on the product and it'll take you to the discounter that has it for the best price. I can't guarantee everything is going to be available by the time this video airs, but they should be available, and most of these are not fragrances that will sell out. Some might, but the majority won't. So let's get started with the list. We're going to the house. It's alphabetical today, by the way. And as I said, $50, under $50. These fragrances are under $50. Great price. You can buy 2, 3, 4 fragrances for under $200, which a lot of fragrances these days cost more than $200. Chanel Bleu de Chanel exclusive is almost $300 with tax. So for that price, you can get 6 fragrances or even more if it's, even less than $50. All right, let's get started with the list. We're going to the house of 4711 first. And first, we're going to talk about Intense Wakening Woods of Scandinavia. Yeah, 4711 is known for, the fragrances are Eau de Cologne. This is Eau de Cologne Intense, but this is quite quality. I really enjoy this. It's green, it's aromatic, it's spicy, it's fresh, it's woody, and it captures the theme perfectly. It's Wakening Woods of Scandinavia. So you've got the woods, the aromatics, the spiciness, the greenness, the freshness all captured in one bottle. Yeah, it is an Eau de Cologne Intense, so it's not going to be the longest lasting. But to me, I think it smells great. It's also created by Guess de Schoen, who is known for fragrances like Eccentric Molecules. So I think this is definitely top-notch quality. 170 ml bottle like this for $37. Great, great price for that. Totally worth it. Check it out if you don't know it. Next, it's one of the Eau de Cologne fragrances. This is... I got the wrong fragrances. This is... one sec. So originally I was going to feature another fragrance, which I actually put here, but I made sure all of these are selling, or the majority, as I said, before I'm shooting this video. So it takes a long time to prepare 100 fragrances in one video. But then when I was looking up that fragrance that I had here, it was no longer selling or not very easy to find. So I replaced it with another. But the next fragrance is Aqua Colonia Lemon and Ginger. I've had plenty of lemon and ginger in foods and, drinks. So this is basically capturing that idea in a perfume form. I think it's very light and it's very airy and very fresh. So use liberally. It's perfect for heat. Wear it in the summertime or after a shower because it's very refreshing, very invigorating. It's got that sweet tartness of the lemon, and then you've got that zing from the ginger. And it's a nice combo. I think it smells great. And it's only 170 ml bottle for $22. So that's a great price, I think. If you want something light, fresh, I think it's a great, easy to wear work fragrance also. I highly recommend that. Just keep in mind, it's an Eau de Cologne, so it's not going to be the longest lasting, but you can liberally spray. And the third fragrance from 4711, Blood Orange and Basil. Similar idea. I like the lemon and ginger. This actually kind of reminds me of the fragrance Mandarin Basilic from Guerlain. This is blood orange though, not mandarin, but still it's basil as well. I think the basil and a citrus combo is a great combo. It's super refreshing. and you've got that herbal touch against the citruses. And again, it's simplistic, it's easy. I think the Wakening Woods is probably more definitely is more complex than the other two, but these smell like expensive fragrances from something like Acqua di Parma or Guerlain in their Acqua Allegoria collections, but in a lighter form. So I really recommend these a lot, and they are great, very invigorating, very fresh, and the blood orange and the basil combo is super awesome. So that's Aqua Colonia, blood orange and basil. Let me know if you're familiar with that fragrance. I don't know who the perfumers are for those two. Why am I having a difficult time getting that in there? But of course, the Wakening Woods of Scandinavia is Geza Schoen, who is the perfumer for Eccentric Molecules. So up next, we've got two fragrances from Adidas. Yes, I'm recommending some Adidas fragrances. So we've got Chill Zone first. And currently this is selling at 100 ml for 15 bucks. Really, really cheap. I've got 50 ml bottles here. I think these are 50 ml. Yeah, these are 50 ml. So the color kind of gives away the kind of fragrance this is. It's green, it's aromatic, it's spicy, it's fresh. Wait, I just sprayed Full Recharge. I'm talking about Chill Zone first. This is Chill Zone right here. Sorry about that. So that's more of a citrus because of the yellow. And eventually it gets a bit deeper and woodier and maybe a little aromatic as well. So Chill Zone, 100 ml, $15. It's super fresh, but also a bit solar and creamy. And it's pleasant wearing. These are kind of sporty fragrances, I think. But I think if you like designer style fragrances and you want something really, really budget, this and the next one should satisfy. They're made by well-known perfumers. I believe they're Firmenich perfumers from what I remember, but I can't remember exactly who. But this is fresh, it's spicy, it's citrusy, it's aromatic, woody, and it gives me a little bit of a solar vibe, like a creaminess, like there's something creamy floral in there. But that's a Chill Zone from Adidas. And then I did spray Full Recharge. Kind of don't get that name, but it's what it is. Full Recharge, also 100 ml for 50. I mean, these are really, really cheap. So this video is for the folks that are totally budget minded. And again, as I said, this is, between the two, this is my favorite. It's more aromatic and spicy. It's also a bit more masculine. It's very woody and green. So it's like an overdose of herbs and spices and aromatics and woods together. Maybe there's some slight freshness with some citrusy touches, but the color kind of gives it away, as you can see. It's very, very green, herbal, maybe a bit bitter as well. Like there's some bitter greens thrown in. But between the two, I prefer the Full Recharge, but the Chill Zone's also quite nice and a really great price, I think, for those two fragrances. My table is so full, I hope nothing falls. Otherwise, it's going to be funny. We're moving on to the house of Ajmal. We have a few Middle Eastern brands here. I tried to make sure the video is not full of Middle Eastern brands. I wanted a nice balance of European brands and off brands, American brands, and so on. So Ajmal Rhythm of Oud, which is this one right here. I'll show you the bottle. This is a 75 ml for $50. So this is right on the cutoff there, $50. And this is also definitely much more luxurious. It's oudi. It's a dark take on kind of an oudi style fragrance. Very Middle Eastern, but under there, beneath there, there's some creamy woods. I feel like there's papyrus shining here. You can totally smell it. Maybe a slight bit of saffron. And definitely like a darker direction in comparison to the other one. Similar collection, similar bottle that I'm going to talk to you about. But Rhythm of Oud, definitely much darker, maybe smoky as well is what I'm picking up. But I think that's due to the papyrus or cypriol that's very prominently featured here, along with a little bit of a saffrony leatheriness. This is definitely acting very Middle Eastern. So that is Rhythm of Oud from Ajmal. I do store a lot of my bottles in boxes, so I pulled these fragrances out in their boxes, so to make it a quicker video to shoot. So the next one is Song of Oud. Is that correct? Yes, Song of Oud. Between the two, this is my favorite. This one's much brighter. It also doesn't really have oud presence much, but I don't know, maybe they're capitalizing on the collection. I don't understand the collection too much, but I recommend this one. Personally, as I said, I prefer this one over Rhythm of Oud. This one is actually also less expensive, 75 ml for 43, whereas the Rhythm of Oud is 75 ml for 50. So again, under $50, great quality fragrances, super long lasting too. And this is spicy, woody, much fresher, slight oudiness, but I wouldn't say it's like super oudy like the dark one. And I don't even think the dark one has, it's not like an animalic Middle Eastern type of oud, but it does smell oudy. And of course, they create that oudiness from the usage of papyrus and cypriol, nagarmotha, and notes like that. So the darker one is quite earthy, woody, spicy. This one is spicy, but there's a brightness about it. There's a smoothness about it, a bit creamier. So it's a bit more easier to embrace compared to the darkness. I kind of prefer this one because I feel like the other fragrance is all dark, going into a dark direction. This one has some, you know, a little bit of like ups and downs, not fully dark kind of. You know what I mean? Because there's darkness here, but it is definitely brightened up, it freshened up. It's a bit fruity, I think. So that is Song of Oud, 75 ml for $43. I knew this was going to be a bit of a challenge. I have, this table is so full. We have 60% of the fragrances I'm going to talk about here in this video on the table right now. And the last fragrance from Ajmal is Vision, a really inexpensive fragrance. This actually replaces a favorite cheapie of mine, which I cannot find anymore, Paul Smith for Men in the green bottle. Quite ozonic fragrance created by Nathalie Lorson. This gives me the idea of it, not quite smelling like it, but it features the ozonic notes of violet leaves. And you kind of get the idea, but this doesn't have as much freshness as the Paul Smith in the green bottle does. But behind it, you can smell like the violet leaves note in here is so prominent. To me, violet leaves smells like violets in addition to greenness, pulpy greenness, so like a stemmy greenness. And you get kind of the floralcy of the violet, the flower, and then the greenness together. That's what violet leaves smells like. Sometimes mistaken for cucumber or apples, because there's a slight vegetal touch. There's a like a fruity touch that, you know, it's prominent in fragrances like Fahrenheit and the violet leaves, and you can totally smell it here. But this is more fresh, very fresh with the violet leaves, slightly fruity, but very powdery, because violet and violet leaves does definitely go powdery. But this is $17, 100 ml, 17. I think it's a solid replacement alternative for the I don't know, very hard to find cheapy Paul Smith for Men in the green bottle. So that's the last Ajmal. We're going to, I did not mention, we've got men's and unisex fragrances throughout the video. Everything has been unisex so far. Everything, including the Aqua Colonia from 4711, the Adidas, and the Ajmals, except Vision is a male targeted release, just an FYI. And even though there's a technicality with this one, I think it's a unisex targeted release, especially you've got the symbol right there. It's Alyssa Ashley's Musk, a pretty solid, long-standing musk fragrance that's super powdery. You can get it in the spray form, which is 100 ml for $20. Or if you can find the oil, which is super luxurious. I have a little bit of the oil as well. The oil you just dab on. Unfortunately for me, oils don't have a lot of projection. I get it from the alcohol that's in the fragrance, so I don't use them. But what I would do is layer down the oil, then spritz the alcohol version up, and it'll intensify the fragrance. But I think this is quite a good musk. It's super powdery, a clean, super sexy musk, I think. Maybe it's a bit old school. There's light floral touches. I feel like there's a slight bit of rose under there with other flowers. But it's kind of it's very powdery, I should say. It's super, super powdery. and also giving me the idea of baby powder. You know, if you like the idea of baby powder, which can give off that kind of coziness, it's definitely something you should try. But you have to have an open mind. If you're not into old school fragrances, because this has been around since the 70s, I think, somewhere around there. It might come off old school, but you know, if you like and you have an open mind and you like the idea of a powdery, musky fragrance, definitely try it. Because I find it to be super cozy. Any musks, powdery musks, all of these kind of musks, I find to be super cozy. So 100 ml for 20. I can't seem to find the oil, but if you can find it, definitely look for it. It's again, Alyssa Ashley Musk 100 ml for $20, and you can layer it with the oil if you'd like. Up next, I actually featured this some time ago in a haul video. I took a chance. Somebody was recommending it to me on the channel. I'm surprised at how good it is. It's a cheapie, 100 ml for $39. It's Anucci Eau de Toilette. Now, here's the unique thing about this one. For me, it reminds me of a classic take on Amouage's Beach Hut Man with a overdose of citruses. So if you like that idea, look for this. There's something in here that reminds me of Beach Hut Man, but as I said, classic and also pumped up with the citruses. But I love Beach Hut Man. I think it's one of the best from Amouage. And so I like this one as well. It's fresh. It's green. It's a bit astringent, but I'm surprised at how good it is. Even for a cheapie, definitely worth having. 100 ml for $39. It's got a unique bottle as well. The theme, I guess it's golf, as you can see right there. But for me, the reminder of Beach Hut Man is really awesome. Again, Beach Hut Man is much more quality. This does seem to be like when fragrances reformulate, they kind of lose their, oomph. I think this has that, but still, I get the connection to Beach Hut Man, but like I said, a much more citrusy take on it, which I quite like. So try that. It's Anucci Eau de Toilette, 100 ml for $39. I recommend this one quite a bit, and I'm glad to have it. And thank you for the folks that were recommending me to get it. And now I can recommend it to you guys as well. All right, we've got two Azzaro fragrances. I think one of them is a unisex targeted. Actually, the Anucci is a male targeted. I think a woman can totally, I think anybody can wear these fragrances. There's women's fragrances here, there's unisex, and there's also men's fragrances. But I believe this next one, Aqua Verde from Azzaro, is a unisex offering. And it was gone for a while. Now I can find it again. I quite like this one. It's a super green citrus and inexpensive. As I said, it is 75 ml for $25. Totally worth it if you are someone that buys fragrances on a budget. So it's green. It's fresh. There's a familiarity about it. It's a bit grassy also. Green, grassy, viney. I feel like ivy comes to mind here. But the citruses are not super astringent. There's a smoothness about it. So it's just a nice balance of greens and citruses and woods together. Maybe some spices as well and aromatics. But you got like a little grassy effect happening back there. So I feel like there's either grassiness or vininess in there. There might even be violet leaves in here, like I mentioned with the Vision from Ajmal. But it's not giving me too much of a vibe of violet leaves. But it might have that in there. And then the other one that I'm going to recommend from Azzaro, 100 ml, $30, it's Cologne Intense. And I think this is created by Quentin Biche. But it doesn't smell like the original Azzaro Pour Homme. It doesn't. But it's a pleasant take on a fresh green Azzaro Pour Homme recreation, I think. This one, to me, it's a bit more astringent than the Aqua Verde. But maybe there might be some slight traces of the original Azzaro Pour Homme, which is a classic from the late 70s, but it's super modern. I think it's very citrusy, aromatic, and woody all together for a very fresh experience. You know, it's funny. I am actually going to do a big haul, buy up a lot of Azzaro Pour Homme flankers I can find, And I think I'm going to do a video. There's a lot of them out there for really inexpensive prices. And I'll perhaps shoot a video. I'll perhaps shoot a video of the Azzaro Pour Homme fragrances. So one of my bottles just fell down. I apologize. As I said, it's very crowded here. It was the Adidas, but you know, it's 100 ml for 15 bucks. So, but it didn't break, thankfully. All right, let's move on to Banana Republic. Okay, so I was actually visiting family a little over a week ago, and I went to a Banana Republic outlet store, and I knew these fragrances. I had spoken about them, and I actually went to this one and spritz it. And I'm like, wow, I don't remember this smelling so good. So here I am recommending it here. You can buy it for 75 ml, 40 bucks. It's 06 Black Platinum from Banana Republic. So it's super musky, super sexy with leather and like floral notes. It does get musky. The musk is prominent. It's also acting like a chypre style with, you know, oak mossy, patchouli, and maybe a bit of rose. But this is not rose so much as white flowers like jasmine. So there's a bit of an indolic musky quality here. But I sprayed it in the store, and I was like, I can't believe I never really dug into this one. It was always the fig one, which I'm drawing a blank with the name of this collection, which I looked to feature here, but the price was over $50. And since we're doing fragrances for under 50, I left that one off. But if you like somewhat old school, musky, leathery fragrances, definitely try this one. It actually reminds me a little bit of the new Queer Saddle from Dior, but without the overdose of the amber woods that's in Queer Saddle. So it's a little bit like that. Really solid, I think. So that is 75 ml for 40. And then if you want something clean and pure, 90 Pure White, also a great one. This is kind of like a personal musk. It's a skin scent, so it's clean and pure as the name suggests it. But it smells a bit like laundry, a little bit soapy, maybe a little bit fizzy aldehydic, and like a clean, showered body maybe, but you know, with a light spritz of some kind of a fragrance on it. It's a quality, clean fragrance, but honestly, there's also some tea-like effect happening in here. So I think what they've done is created a very like really laundered, clean linens or showered body, skin kind of an effect happening with this one. And it's for those folks that like skin scents, and for people that don't like super projecting fragrances, because that's how this is acting. So it's 90 Pure White. That is Banana Republic, and it's 75 ml for 48. And I've got to feature this one here. It's also a pretty solid one. It's tobacco and tonka bean. So tobacco and tonka bean, yes, it's a great combo. It also has plums. The color is purple, as you can see. So they've kind of taken on the color of the plum note in here. So it's tobacco and tonka beans. So it's a bit gourmandesque, especially the fact that there's the plums in here. But it reminds me of something, and I'm not able to put my nose on it or pinpoint to what it is. But there's a super cozy quality about it. I think it's also the fact that it's not a very smoky, ashy tobacco. It's more of like a leafy, woody tobacco. It all blends really nicely together with the tonka, which tonka, you know, comes off slight bit nutty, almondy, but also there are some tobacco-ish nuances you can pull from it. So it's a really solid offering for a cheapie. And the fact that it has that fruitiness of the plums, definitely worth checking out if you like the idea of a free tobacco fragrance. Tobacco and tonka bean with plums. It's 75 ml for 43 bucks. All right, this next fragrance is the first fragrance that might be a challenge to get, but I discovered this a year ago. I discovered it in September of 2024. I had been to the store Ben Simon. It's a French store that's known for these sandals or shoes or sneakers or something. And I didn't realize they had fragrances. So there was one in the city of Brussels. And I bought their Ben Simon Cologne Ben Simon 1993, which is created by... There's too much information to put... Like the guy that created Kouros. So it's very musky and animalic here. And it was only 35 euros for 100 ml. If you are a fan of... Just imagine Kouros married Musk Ravageur. That's what you get here. But in the end, it's an eau de cologne, so it doesn't like super long lasting. Although I think it has great lingering power because it has a lot of patchouli, but it doesn't project is what I'm trying to say. It lingers on really, really great, but it's not like a super loud, heavy, thick, dense, overly intense fragrance. But if you can get your hands on this, I really recommend it, especially if you like the fragrances of this very well-known perfumer that I am drawing a blank with. It's Pierre Bourdon, by the way. I paused the video to go check his name up. Pierre Bourdon, who's known for Kouros, a lot of fragrances for Creed, and of course, one fragrance that I have here, it's Cool Water, but I don't have the original. I have the Intense, which he didn't do. But he's known for quite a bit of fragrances, and he also did this Ben Simon. So if you ever go to France, or if you visit like a Ben Simon store, get it. I highly recommend it. It's a really great cheapie, 35 euros for 100 ml. It's totally solid. So let's move on to the next fragrance. We're going to Boucheron. This is Jaipur Homme in the Eau de Parfum. And you can get this currently 100 ml, 38 bucks. Totally worth it. And it's a cinnamon balm. It's an ambery cinnamon balm created by Annick Menardo. By the way, I have a deep dive video on Annick Menardo fragrances. If you haven't caught that, please go catch that. But I think, you know, it's been neutered, but I think they still kept the fragrance pretty decent. You get the warmth, you get the cinnamon, and you get the amber, and it totally takes me back to when I first smelled it at the Macy's men's store, which closed. And I was buying something, and I was on my way out, and I think my sales associate gave me some samples, but then I saw the display of Boucheron Jaipur Homme, and I spritzed it, and I couldn't get the fragrance out of my mind. It's that good. It is old school. It's late 90s, but I think if you like warm, spicy, ambery fragrances, totally worth it. So that is Boucheron Jaipur pour Homme. I don't know what the status with that fragrance is going to be. I think I might have to get another backup because I love warm, spicy fragrances, ambery fragrances. So I think I need to have a backup of that because it's 100 ml for 38. It's a really solid offering, I think. So let's move on to the House of Burberry next. We've got Burberry London, which is a fragrance I wore in the early 2000s or mid 2000s. I can't remember exactly when. And I recently, I still have my original bottle from a long time ago, but this is a more recent purchase. And it's warm, spicy tobacco fragrance once again. Yeah. I think, though, have they redone this fragrance? Do you guys know? It seems to be a lot fresher. I thought it was warm, spicy before, but it seems to be a lot fresher now. I like the smell still. What do you guys think? But this is 100 ml for 38 bucks. Is this 100 ml? Yeah, this is a 100 ml bottle. And of course, this is how the bottle looks. So that's a fragrance I wore in like the early to mid early 2000s. Early to mid 2000s. And then this one is also a solid one. This is also focusing on violet leaves. And this is Burberry's Touch, 100 ml for 34. And I think this one came out in the 90s. It's a very fresh take on violet leaves. And it's ozonic. It's a crisp. It's watery. And I wouldn't say aquatic, but maybe ozonic notes comes off a bit aquatic. But it's super fresh. It's spicy. There's a creamy smoothness, but also a pulpiness because of those violet leaves. I really enjoy violet leaves in fragrances. This isn't like Fahrenheit, but somebody might think, oh, it smells like Fahrenheit because it's the violet leaves that's in it. that might remind you of it. But it wears fresh, it wears crisp, maybe slightly fruity, because the violet leaves sometimes tricks my nose to smell like apples, sometimes cucumbers, because it's that kind of crisp, watery juiciness. But pretty solid here for $34. This is Burberry Touch. Let me know if you're familiar with that. And next, I can't believe how inexpensive this fragrance has gotten. This is Calvin Klein CK1 Essence, 100 ml for $40. Great price for this. It's a update to the very long-standing CK1, but this is the Perfume Intense version. It's quite metallic to me, and I think the bottle kind of captures what you're going to smell. It's quite crisp, sharp and metallic. It's tea. It's aromatics, it's spices and woods together. But when you wear it, it's very cold. It's crisp and cold. And again, as I said, it's metallic because that's the direction that they've taken this in. It might come off a bit synthetic. It doesn't have the airiness of the original, but the original doesn't last as long. It's become more like a 4711 style because of the reformulations. It's very, very light. Here, you get the idea of the original. It's much longer lasting, but it's also, again, cold, crisp, metallic, sharp. I think if you like, CK1, definitely try the Perfume Intense version of it. And that is currently selling for $40, 100 ml for $40. And up next, we've got two Clinique Happy fragrances. We've got the ladies here, which is $39 for 100 ml. Long-standing late 90s staples. I have the ladies version. I rarely wear it. I pull it out to smell it once in a while. I mean, I've worn so much of the men's. For me, the ladies is kind of fruity and citrusy, fruity and floral. I think it's gotten quite weak, I have to say. But you can kind of get an idea of what this fragrance used to be. It was everywhere. Everybody was wearing Happy. I'm not sure if everybody was happy, but this is a hint of citrus, a wealth of flowers. That's what it says. Yeah, I think there's some fruits because I do smell some fruits here. So I think this is like a fruity, floral, citrusy kind of a thing. Let me know if you're a fan. You can find great deals on that. It's 100 ml $39. I'm surprised it's more expensive than the men's. The men's 100 ml is $33, and I much prefer the men's, and I wore so much of it. I remember late 90s. This was a staple for me. And here, this is how much I've got left from my bottle that I bought probably in 2020 or 2021. This is a newer bottle, but to me, it's a zesty take on citruses, but a very sunshiny, happy way. I mean, of course, it's gotten reformulated. It's much thinner. It doesn't have that robust oomph that it once did. But it still reminds me of when I first wore this. When I first wore this, there was a intensity about it. It's not like that anymore, unfortunately. This is Eau de Toilette. It does say cologne spray. But it's good. It reminds me of when I wore this. It's such a great scent. It's a very happy fragrance. And the name is just perfect. Clinique Happy. I think I'm dropping too many things today. All right, I just paused the video to clear the table off a bit because things are falling. Sorry about that. That's never happened before, although I've dropped many strips for the fragrances. This time I'm dropping bottles and caps. But let's move on to the Coach fragrances. I've got two here, one for the guys, one for the ladies. We've got Coach Green, a very modern take on a fougere, a fruity green fougere fragrance. This one you can get for 100 ml $34 tester. It's interesting. As I was mentioning, I went to the Banana Republic outlet when I was near family. And I also went to the Coach outlet. All their fragrances are like original price. There's no discounts on their fragrances, which is kind of weird. And you can go online and get them for so like inexpensively at the discounters. But this to me is a very modern take on a fougere. It's green fruity, it's aromatic and spicy, very fresh, I think. And there's some woods in the dry down. Very pleasant work by, I think it's Marie Salamagna, who does all the fragrances for Atelier des Ors. So that is Coach Green. Let me know if you're familiar with that. And for the ladies, we've got Coach Dreams Sunset. I think this is a Nathalie Lorson creation, along with the perfumer for Coach Green, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's who it is. So you know you're going to get quality work for inexpensive. This is 90 ml for 48, so this is more expensive. This is kind of a creamy, velvety, smooth, gourmandesque, sweet fragrance for the ladies. Vanilla for sure. There's a creamy, like a consistency, maybe some light fruits, but the idea of whipped cream comes to mind, but sweetened up with vanilla and other creamy elements. So that is Coach Sunset Dreams for 48 bucks, 90 ml bottle. So we're going a little old school here next. I do have old school fragrances throughout this video. And we're going to the House of Coty. And I highly recommend you try these fragrances if you're at all into vintage fragrances. The fact that Enfant Coty is now out, it's a niche line by the House of Coty that is also launching some of their classics, like Ambre Antique came out. I have a feeling these are going to be discontinued. Like slowly, all of their classics are disappearing. Like you can't find Emerald anymore and various others. So I think the process will be to eliminate some of these and bring them back. I think that's what I'm speculating. I'm not 100% sure that this is true. So get these because they're really inexpensive now, especially like Coty Aspen, 118 ml for 12 bucks. And in the 80s, in the late 80s, I didn't wear Cool Water. I wore Aspen Cologne. And it gave me the idea of Cool Water. Although at the time I was wearing this, I didn't really appreciate the Cool Water DNA aquatics. I really enjoyed stronger, more intense, robust fragrances. This one had more like a watery ozonic thing happening or aquatic thing happening with aromatics. So I liked it. It's fresher, but at the time I didn't appreciate it as much as I appreciate it now. Definitely very solid. It's not identical to Cool Water, but there's similar touches. To me, it reminds me of the snow melting in Aspen. So there's green notes here, there's woody notes, and for sure aquatic notes. It's not marine. It's more like aquatic, like water. But very inexpensive here for this. 118 ml for 12 bucks. And then the next one is for the ladies. This one is for the guys, but the next one is for the ladies. It's Vanilla Musk. 50 ml for 16 bucks. These, I mean, in the 90s, when I remember seeing this fragrance, and I can't remember exactly when this launched, but to me, it reminds me of a 90s fragrance. Or maybe it's the late 80s. I was not a fan of vanilla. And I remember there were some vanilla fragrances out there. There was even I think Coty even had the men's vanilla, which I'm drawing I think it was called raw vanilla for the guys. But this was a very popular fragrance you can buy at like places like Kmart or Target and places like that. And I remember this. I didn't appreciate it at the time because I didn't really enjoy vanilla. In fact, I despised it, but I really, really appreciate this. This is so delicious, by the way. And it's really inexpensive, 50 ml for 16 bucks. Super cozy, musky, and very smooth. It's giving me like a little orange blossomy touches as well. It's almost giving me the vibe of like a very creamy ice cream, like super creamy and smooth and cozy. I think it's really, really delicious. Again, it's old school. But any vanilla lover should definitely check that out. It's really, really inexpensive. 50 ml, 16 bucks is so cheap. And again, I don't know the certainty of Coty. I don't know what they're planning on doing. And the fact that they released the Ambre Antique, they brought it back. Will they do that the same? Will they do the same with Emerald, since Emerald is really hard to find as well? Who knows? Does anybody know? I'm hoping they would. because I really enjoyed Ambre Antique, but it's much pricier, much more pricier. And let's see if they will bring it back. I mean, it's a limited edition. I think they still have some stock. They only did 1,910 bottles, I think. So I have a feeling they'll bring it back as a regular fragrance in their regular line, but I don't know 100%. Let's move on to the next page. We're going to the next page. This is Chopard's Happy Lemon Dolce or Dulce. It's $21 for 100 ml. I actually did a short video when I was doing short videos on the channel for this. I think it's a fun, playful, lemony fragrance. I don't think it's like the most original fragrance, but really fun and playful. If you like lemony citrus fragrances, you definitely should check this one out. It's also a cute bottle, and 21 bucks is totally worth it. If you're more of a citrus lover or citrus fragrance wearer, you should definitely check this one out. I think it's a sweet tart, slightly astringent lemon, but there's some spices, musks, and aromatics in there. Very light. And of course, it's sweetened up. It's almost like a limoncello, kind of. And it's called Lemon Dolce. So I think the Dolce is referring to sweet. Very simplistic. It's for somebody that doesn't like loud fragrances, I think. They do have another one, I think orange focused. I'm going to have to try that one, but I recommend this one for 21 bucks if you're on a budget. And then the next one is one of the Malaki fragrances, is the Musk Malaki. It's the only one I saw for under 50 bucks. So I do recommend the Musk Malaki. And I'm a musk lover, so it's a given. I would recommend this one. It's $46 for 80 ml. So again, as I mentioned, I have all of these fragrances tagged as much as I can. And you should be able to get them as I'm talking about the fragrances. So it's powdery. It's got a slight Middle Eastern touch because I think the whole entire series is very Middle Eastern. I have a whole video on all of the Malaki fragrances. If you're curious to check them out, you can search the channel. It's kind of clean, powdery, a bit rosy, baby powdery idea comes to mind, and a bit of a Middle Eastern edge to it, musk fragrance. So that's Musk Malaki by Chopard. It's weird. I think when I keep pausing the video, it starts not focusing on the bottles, which is kind of strange. It's a bummer. I have to figure out why, because I use an iPhone. I'm using an iPhone 17 Pro Max, and I've noticed it when I keep pausing, because I've paused the video already a couple times, it stops focusing on the products, like when I zoom in, which is really weird. I got to figure out why it does that. So next, an old school discovery recently that I'm going to recommend here. It's Dana's Taboo. This is a 68 ml bottle for 12 bucks. I highly, highly recommend you try this. Highly, highly recommend. Please, please try it. Especially if you like my taste in amber fragrances and also in old school fragrances. This is an old school amber. I'm definitely going to do a short video on this on the new channel. If you haven't subscribed to my new shorts channel, please go subscribe. I have it linked in the info box. And once I get to the 1,000 subscribers, I'll start posting shorts content there. I will link to this channel as much as I can, but you can't directly link from one channel to another. So I will have to pop in a pinned comment there. But I will do a short video on this. But I find it to be so awesome, even to this day. And this fragrance has been around for, 100 years? Somewhere around there. And this formulation is great. It's got a lot of patchouli. It's a bit head shoppy. So it's a bit like head shop, incense smoky kind of, and patchouli amber kind of combo. So there's aromatics and spices. It actually mentions what's on the notes here. So in the base, you've got patchouli, oak moss, musk, and amber. And the heart notes are rose, ylang ylang, and jasmine. And then you've got bergamot and lemon up top. But really great. Really, really awesome. I mean, it's old school. It's also very plasticky, cheapy kind of cap. But the bottle itself is quite nice. I mean, the bottle doesn't have the name on it. It's on the cap. But I highly recommend this one. Please get it. Totally worth it. So that's Taboo from Dana, 12 bucks. So from Dana, I bought 2 fragrances. One for the guys, which I thought the reformulation was really, really bad. It's Canoe. Canoe reformulation is really bad. I didn't care for it. But that reformulation is decent. It's totally worth recommending. Let's move on to the house of Davidoff. We've got 3 fragrances from Davidoff. This is Adventure. I did a blind buy of this. I hadn't sampled it in a haul video, and I was surprised. Yeah, it's light. It's an Eau de Toilette, but I kind of like that fresh, ambery, orangey kind of experience. This is Adventure. I'm not sure how much of an adventure this gives me from the smell. I think maybe it does. But it's this kind of a citrus that has a golden glow, slight ambery and woody. Maybe there's some spices along the way. I think it's a pleasant offering from the house. And it's also $20 for 100 ml. Totally worth having if you're a budget-minded and you like the idea of citruses with... you know, woods and spices. There's definitely something creamy happening in here as well. Let me know if you're familiar. I really like it. I really do. I would say this is kind of in the idea of Chanel's Allure series, kind of in that ballpark. It doesn't smell identical to that, but it kind of gives me the idea of it. Let's hope that Chanel launches an exclusive of Allure. But they haven't really continued that series, unfortunately. All right, next we've got 2 more from Davidoff. We've got Cool Water Intense. Remember I mentioned I do have Cool Water, but not the original because I have the Aspen cologne. But this Cool Water Intense is also quite nice. Once again, it's taking the original Cool Water into more of an ambery citrus direction. Keeping that kind of aquatic, slight marine touch in there. This is an Eau de Parfum concentration. Cool Water is Eau de Toilette. They don't smell alike, and then they do, you know? It's also very super cozy. It's fresh. I think it's, since it is Eau de Parfum, it's a bit more substantial than the Eau de Toilette version of Cool Water. So it's almost like a transitional season. I think it's perfect for autumn. For me, it smells like an autumn fragrance because it's got that deepness, but it's also kind of fresh at the same time. And spring is going to be fine as well. So Davidoff Cool Water Intense. That is currently 125 ml for $35. So you get 25 ml more juice, and it's $35 for that. And then Zeno Davidoff, I got to recommend. This is also 125 ml. And the price for this one is $20. It's old school. It's an 80s fragrance. Michelle Almerac created it. Same perfumer as, or co-perfumer of Fahrenheit, the original for from Dior. But this is kind of a deep, woody, spicy, patchouli amber combo. To me, it reminds me a little bit of Gentleman Givenchy, the original from the 70s, modernized. And I think it came out like 15 years after the Gentleman Givenchy came out. And when this came out after this, there were a few other fragrances that came out that are similar, like Balenciaga Pour Homme, Heritage from Guerlain, Pasha from Cartier, kind of like focusing on the patchouli and woods and spices together. But I find this fragrance to be super sexy. Really, really awesome. And it's been around since like 88, 87, 86, somewhere around there. So that is $20 for 125 ml. Then we're going to a unisex offering. That was a guy's fragrance. All 3 of the Davidoffs were for men. But this is Derek Lamb's 10 Crosby Something Wild. This version is a 50 ml bottle. But the one online I saw, 175 ml for $50. And it's basically a very smooth, creamy, woody vanilla fragrance. Super cozy, guys. Super cozy. Yeah. It's also very spicy, but to me, the sandalwood is highlighted. You can really pick up the sandalwood. Sandalwood in here also reminds me a little bit of the sandalwood in something like Samsara from Guerlain, but much more modern here. It's just basically a combo, a very smooth combo of a syrupy vanilla with a creamy sandalwoody base. Yum. This is a really great fragrance. It's been a while since I pulled it out, but I highly recommend it. It's much more modern fragrance there. I wish I had a few more of those, but I found this one time at a Marshall's or something, and it was so cheap I bought it. But the version online right now is 175 ml. This is a 50 ml. Yes, 175 ml for 50. So next we're going to Dunhill. It's Icon Absolute. This collection is on its way out, guys. This is the tester I bought online, but this collection is going. I mean, the original Icon I can't even find to recommend here. One time, like 10 years ago, it was all the rage. Everybody was talking about it, but Inter Parfums dropped Dunhill. And I think Dunhill's status is up in the air. I don't know if they're making any new fragrances or not. But this is basically taking Icon into a more darker, oudi, ambery direction, more Middle Eastern direction. So the original was woods and spices and citruses. Here we have that, but there's also slight leathery touches, oudi, woody touches. So a bit more of a Middle Eastern twist on the famous Icon. This is Icon Absolute, 100 ml for 42. Again, I don't know the certainty of Dunhill fragrances. I don't know where they'll go after this. This is also oudi, if I didn't mention. It's definitely going into the Middle Eastern direction, for sure. You don't have, I mean, you have the original Icon citrusy, woody touches, but it's definitely laced with a lot of the Middle Eastern touches as well. So it's kind of oudi, spicy, leathery, definitely really good here. This is Absolute, Icon Absolute from Dunhill. I've got one fragrance here from El Ganzo, Part-Time Hero, 125 ml for 26 bucks. It's a kind of a green herbal aromatic fragrance. It's fun. Let me show you. Part-Time Hero from El Ganzo. By the way, guys, I have videos on a lot of these fragrances if you want to find out more about them. A lot of them, not all of them. To me, it smells like green herbs and aromatics with kind of like a tea, like there've been like a cup of tea or a bowl of tea, and there's a bunch of aromatics thrown in, like herbs. There's a lot of green herbal stemminess in here, along with a very smooth, cozy kind of a tea and citrusy combo. It's very fresh. It's I think it's a perfect everyday kind of fragrance, and it smells quite invigorating, actually. I like the combination of that smooth tea-like vibe, smooth and very cozy tea-like vibe with citruses and, of course, all the aromatics and green notes. I don't know what it has to do with a Part-Time Hero, but really solid. It's definitely one of my favorites from the house, and it's 125 ml for 26 bucks, so really, really inexpensive. And then we've got two Emmanuel Ungaro fragrances. You guys know the brand? He had passed away a couple of years ago, I think, the designer. This is Cosmic. Sadly, it wasn't sent to me in the best condition, but the fragrance itself, I believe, is created by Jerome Epinay. This is Cosmic. So it's a fruity fragrance. Very feminine. This is for the ladies. But this is currently selling 90 ml for 20 bucks. I mean, it's Jerome Epinay. He does Byredo and Wilhelm Parfumerie fragrances. It's a fruity floral, definitely focusing on the fruits. And there's a creamy, kind of chantilly-like vanillic creaminess in there to kind of smooth things out and sweeten things up. It's 20 bucks. Great presentation. Interesting looking bottle. And then we've got an update to Ungaro's Diva. This is Diva Rouge. And this is 100 ml, 15 bucks. So cheap. So Diva was an 80s powerhouse ladies fragrance. So this is the updated version. It's Emmanuel Ungaro. I think the original fragrance is super iconic. I can't remember who created it. Was it Jacques Polge who created it? The original? So this doesn't smell anything like the original, by the way. It's a super modern fragrance. Once again fruity. and with white flowers. There's definitely an overdose of like tuberose in here. But 100 ml, 15 bucks for this thing. I mean, I've got a family full of fragrance lovers. A lot of ladies love them. And most of them don't know anything about perfumes. And I mean, they take anything you give them pretty much. So you can get what? 6 of these for 100 bucks? And it comes with this dangly thing. It's tuberose, like literally fruity tuberose. 15 bucks, guys. That is cheap. Gives me a little bit of the idea of, what does it give me the idea of? Something I've smelled before, and I can't remember who did this perfume. Is it Jerome Epinay again? The tuberose is reminding me of something I've smelled before, but it is definitely laced with kind of berries, fruitiness or something. Anyway, Diva Rouge from Emmanuel Ungaro. And then I've got another feminine targeted release here with a fun bottle. I intentionally bought this because I really like the bottle. I'm a presentation kind of guy, but it was a tester. So it's Escada's Candy Love. Not much speaking about Escada lately, but that's how it goes. So look at that. Candy Love. So you can get this for 100 ml, 35 bucks. I don't know much about it. I just bought it for the bottle and to talk about here for you guys in case I do a video on, you know, cheap fragrances. What's cool is it's got Escada written on the sprayer. It smells like candy, but sweet tart. Very, very fruity. It almost looks like a celebrity fragrance. Escada is written on the bottom there. I wore Escada fragrance. I wore like a few Escada fragrances, but a long time ago. They don't do much in the way of men's fragrances anymore, but they keep pumping out ladies' fragrances. I kind of like that. It's fun and fruity. 35 bucks. I mean, it kind of reminds me of some niche offerings lately with fruits. Anyway, this is a tester bottle I bought. But Escada Candy Love. It is selling 100 ml for $35. And then we've got Etienne Egner's #1 Oud for 100 ml, $42. So if you're looking for Oud, Etienne Egner is, I mean, I still see their stores in Europe. Another one bites the dust. Nothing broken. Okay, I'm starting to eliminate some of the bottles off of this table. It was very crowded. I won't do that next time. But as I was saying, I do still see some of their stores in Europe, Etienne Egner. I don't know much about the designer. It sounds like a French name, but I don't think it's a French designer, is it? Who knows? But for an oud fragrance, it's not rosy. It's a dark, woody, resinous, smoky oud. It's a Western oud, not... Well, maybe there is a little rose. It's developing. I wouldn't say the rose is strong if there is rose. There might be some light florals in there. But it's a sticky, resinous, smoky, incensey, you know, Western oud. I feel like they're using Cypriol to create that oudy woody effect that they normally do. Anyway, that's Egner's #1 oud, and that is currently selling for 42 bucks in 100 ml. So let me know if anything has got you excited so far. There's a lot of fragrances I'm talking about here, so hopefully some of these are exciting to you. All right, we're going to the house of Finery next. Finery is Target's very cheap collection of fragrances. My favorite is I'm a Musk, but I'm not talking about that first. I'm going to talk about Before the Rainbow first. Most of these should be 60 ml for $37. Sure, they're not 100 ml. They're in between 100 and 50 ml. So, but the price is really inexpensive. So this is Before the Rainbow. This does remind me of a kind of a fruity version of the Jo Malone fragrance Wood Sage and Sea Salt. Wood Sage and Sea Salt is also Eau de Cologne. This is an Eau de Parfum. There's something fruity about it with this version in comparison to the Jo Malone version. So that is $37 for Before the Rainbow from Finery. And then my favorite is I'm a Musk. I absolutely love it. And it's almost like a no perfume. Very clean, kind of creamy, a bit milky take on musk. Super cozy. I really love this. It's powdery. I mean, somebody that's not very experienced with fragrances might smell this and say, it doesn't smell like anything. Oh, it smells like alcohol. But the subtleties is what you have to look for here. This is also a great skin scent. Wear it on its own. You won't have a lot of projection. It'd be safe to wear in hospitals and places like that if you are a worker there. And, you know, it connects with your own musk. And, it creates a really pleasant, sweet, musky smell. But it's a clean fragrance, by the way. And you can also use it to layer with. Use it as a primer. Layer it down and spritz some fragrances on there. I don't think it'll increase the longevity of fragrances by much, but I think it'll enhance it a little bit. I'm a Musk. Definitely highly recommend that one. It's my favorite from Finery. So then we've got No Prints Required. This might be a feminine targeted release, by the way. Although I think that I'm a Musk is also, I don't find it to be very feminine. It's just a musk. But No Prints Required is definitely feminine targeted, I think. Same price, 100 ml, 60 ml for $37. This to me is an orange blossomy sweet fragrance. Very, very, wow. You know, it reminds me a little bit of Love Don't Be Shy, a little bit, in that kind of a ballpark. So it's kind of gourmandesque. It's kind of a citrusy floral, super cozy once again, kind of marshmallowy, fluffy. Really delicious. Not identical to Love Don't Be Shy, but that kind of idea of combining orange blossom with kind of vanillic, marshmallowy, caramelly sweetness. And then the last fragrance from Finery is 2 Billion. Let me know if you're familiar with this. Yeah, 2 Billion, I think they were inspired by 1 million. It's lavender and ambery notes, so it's sweet and spicy, sticky and resinous, and also very aromatic and herbal. The lavender really stands out here. I think it's a male targeted offering, but it can totally, work on a woman. But I don't think that there are any rules. If you like a scent and it's targeted to the opposite sex and you want to wear it, just wear it. I really like very strong masculine offerings, and I also like some feminine offerings. So I actually rediscovered this fragrance. I wore it in the early 90s, and I recently bought it like a couple years ago, and I was surprised how great the reformulation is. It's a Giorgio Beverly Hills Red for Men, 100 ml for $14. Super, super awesome fragrance. Many memories with this one. Iconic bottle and original smell. Really love this. And $14 is really inexpensive. This to me reminds me of it came out probably like 8 to 10 years after Drakkar Noir, but it reminds me of a modernized version to that timeline of Drakkar Noir. There's a little bit funk in here as well. So they've taken this very green, aromatic, spicy, kind of piney woods into like a more modern territory. But at that time, it was like, it smells like an updated version of something like Drakkar Noir to me. It's so good. Really, this version, I love it. Really super love it. Let me know if you're a fan. I bought this like 2 years ago, I think, at the discounter. I think it was either Joma Shop or Fragrance Net. And I can't get enough of how great it smells. To this day, it smells really, really awesome. And 14 bucks is a steal. All right, so that is Giorgio Beverly Hills Red for Men. I haven't tried the ladies version since a long time ago. But I do have a fragrance here from the House of Grey. It's called Cabochard. It's Eau de Parfum Concentration, created by Bernard Chant, who created Aramis by Aramis. And this also smells like Aramis by Aramis. Just a slightly more feminine take on it. 100 ml, 21 bucks for this. It's a leather chypre. If you compare this side by side to Aramis by Aramis, you'll get the similarities. But I think this is an eau de parfum, and the Aramis by Aramis is an eau de toilette. I think it's an eau de toilette now. It used to be an eau de cologne, I think. You can smell how much thicker this is in comparison to that. And I do get better longevity with this one than that. It is a slight bit more of a feminine take on it, but it's really great for 21 bucks. 100 ml, 21 bucks for this. Yeah, the bottle is a bit more feminine. If you think it's too feminine, take the bow off of it or something. But if you like old school leather chypre fragrances, definitely you should check into that one. Cabochard. All right, we're going to the House of Guess, and I've got two ladies' Guess fragrances here. Noir, Seductive Noir. What do I... Yeah, Seductive Noir and Seductive Red. First is Seductive Noir. My Seductive Red bottle is leaking. It was delivered like that, so I didn't get a return. Wow, I haven't sprayed this in a long time. I hadn't followed through with Fragrance Net, I think is where I bought it from. So Seductive Noir is a darker, woody, spicy fragrance. There's ambery touches. I think it's called Seductive Noir, but I wouldn't say it's super, super dark. There's dark elements here, but I think there's enough brightness to make it a very balanced fragrance. It's definitely gourmandesque, but very minimally. It's more amber woods and spices with sweet elements thrown in. It's quite yummy. I kind of like it more than the Seductive Red. But the Seductive Noir is 100 ml, 21 bucks. Cheap, cheap fragrance. Really inexpensive. And then the Seductive Red is focusing on cherries. And my bottle is a bit sticky and gunky. Let's see if I can... Who's a fan of these fragrances? Let me know if you're a fan of it. Oh yeah, this thing is just not put on very perfectly. I mean, it's cheap. It's a cheap fragrance. I mean, in the 80s, I wore plenty of Guess, but I haven't worn Guess denim for a long time. Not since the late 80s. This is a kind of a lost cherry, like cherry, fruity, kind of gourmand, sweet fragrance. I wouldn't say this is identical to Lost Cherry, but similar idea, I would say. But this is 100 ml, 22. Super inexpensive. Definitely for the ladies, but if you like to wear cherry and you're a guy, there's no problem with that. All right, so that is Guess Seductive Red. And then we've got two fragrances for the guys. Going to the House of Drakkar. I'm recommending this, but this is not one of my favorites. It's Drakkar Bleu, but I think I think it could be a great alternative to the Y series of fragrances from YSL. If you don't want to spend the YSL prices, you can get it for $25. I don't care for it personally. I prefer the other one. It's a fruity, kind of a very modern blue fruity fragrance. Yeah, I don't care for it myself. But if you like anything like Y by YSL, you might dig this one. It's in that kind of a vein. For me, it's all about Drakkar Intense. I mean, it is cheap. So this is 100 ml 25. It's probably around $75 to $100 less than like EDP. And then this is Drakkar Intense. So it's, to me, more like Drakkar Noir. It's more old school like that. It's a pretty intense take on something like Drakkar Noir. But I always get clarified. It's a flanker to Drakkar, the original. Yeah, okay. But so is Drakkar Noir. But, you know, this is good. I really love this old school kind of smell. I think it's a great alternative to the original Drakkar Noir because it smells very similar. And it's also 100 ml, $18. Super cheap. Let me know if you're a fan. If you like old school, definitely try that one. It's very aromatic, woody, spicy, and definitely one of my favorites in these cheapies. I mean, I really also really love the Red for Men by Giorgio Beverly Hills. But let's move on to a bit more modern offering. Go into the House of Jill Sander. It's Sun Men. 75 ml for $20. What I like about this is a kind of an aromatic solar fragrance for the guys. I actually bought the Parfum edition and I didn't care for it. I haven't smelled it since I bought it, so maybe it's time for me to revisit it to see if it's settled nicely. But this Eau de Toilette version is so super cozy. There's a creamy element in here, like creamy woods, but also brightened up by solar notes and solar citruses and solar floral notes. Makes for a kind of a beachy take on a men's fragrance, but not quite going into like lots of beachy flowers, but kind of the idea is there. It's more like beachy citruses and creamy woods. Pleasant. So this is Sun Men by the House of Jill Sander. And that's for the guys. And then we've got Youp Le Ban here. I've got only one Youp fragrance. And I think this is a really solid one. Youp Le Ban. This is 75 ml for $23. And to me, is that it doesn't really remind me too much of. I think the idea with this fragrance is there's a fragrance by the House of a Lab on Fire, which is now called What We Do Is Secret. And this fragrance is reminding a lot of folks to What We Do in Paris is Secret. What we do is secret in Paris. What we do in Paris is secret. Do you guys get the similarities? Obviously, What We Do in Paris is Secret is much more expensive. This is a much cheaper offering. I think the other one's more gourmand than this, but there are similarities. But I wouldn't say it's identical, is what I'm trying to say. But I quite like this. It's also a cute little bottle. So 75 ml for $23. Totally a great fragrance to get. It's a bit classic, but then I think it's totally wearable. It doesn't act like an 80s. It's like the 2000s is when that came out. So 75 ml for $23. Next, going to the House of Karl Lagerfeld. It's Bois de Vetiver. A fresh take on a vetiver fragrance. 100 ml for $30. There's a lot of inexpensive fragrances over at Karl Lagerfeld. A lot of aromatics, spices, and fresh notes with vetiver, and some other woods. Very easy to wear, masculine offering. I was going to say, is it like Vetiver by Guerlain? No, I think this is a bit more modern. But it's also amped up with a lot more freshness. So it makes it a bit easier. It's not coming off as rooty as Guerlain's Vetiver is, or acts like. So that is Bois de Vetiver. And we've got Bois de Yuzu. I'm on the third page, by the way. 100 ml, 21 bucks. Bois de Yuzu, to me, is their take on something like L'Eau de by Issey Miyake, L'Eau de Pour Homme. But this is a lot woodier in comparison to L'Eau de, which is a lot more aquatic woody. So there's that astringent bitterness, citruses, with a lot of like a bit screechy woods, I think. There's a little bit of a sharpness with the woods in here. There's also some aromatics and spices thrown in. But you can definitely pick up the bitterness, the juiciness of the yuzu. Simplistic, easy to wear, definitely leaning masculine once again. I can't recall if these are unisex offerings or if they're for the guys, but both of these are definitely on the masculine side. All right, next we've got a fragrance from Karl Lagerfeld. We've got two more. One's called Hamburg Alster. This is definitely a masculine leaning offering, and it's a very aromatic, woody, spicy offering, and leaning green as well. This is 100 ml for 22 bucks. Very fresh, creamy woods, spicy aromatics, and some green stemmy notes thrown in. But comes off green, and I think they've captured the greenness perfectly here. The shade of green here is what I get. Very easy to wear, definitely masculine leaning if this is a unisex offering. So Hamburg Alster from Karl Lagerfeld. And then last Karl Lagerfeld is Rome Divino Amore, 100 ml for 22. So both of these for, oh, okay, look at this. So this does say Pour Homme right down there. So it is masculine leaning, and I did notice that. And then this one, I was going to say, leans feminine. So this one does say femme, Pour Femme. So Rome Divino Amore is a ladies targeted release. Eau de Parfum. It's funny, why do they always do men's fragrances Eau de Toilette? Do the guys not deserve Eau de Parfum? Strange. Two from the same collection. One's an Eau de Toilette because it's for the guys. One's an Eau de Parfum because it's for the ladies. Go figure that out. Both of them are 100 ml, 22 bucks. Rome Divino Amore is like a sweet floral. Yeah, sweet flowers. Bit fruitiness in there. I wouldn't say this is super sweet and kind of gourmand leaning. There's sweetness there, but for me, there's definitely freshness also. It's a fruity floral fragrance for sure. It's like you can totally smell it once it settles a bit. It's very feminine for sure. So that is Rome Divino Amore. So that is the end of the Karl Lagerfeld fragrances. And I do have 4 Lalique fragrances to talk to you guys about. Lalique always has some great deals. I'm highlighting 4 here because I wanted to cap it at 4 for different brands. And the first one I'm going to talk to you about is Encre Noir à la Extrême. 100 ml, $31. It's a luxurious take on the original Encre Noir, which is a like a very popular cheapie. And for me, the Eau de Parfum or the à l'extrême takes it into more of a direction of reminding me of Sycamore. Both of them are Eau de Parfum concentrations. And to me, there's a little bit more happening here with the à l'extrême in comparison to the original. The original comes off a little like linear, one-dimensional. Here, we do have some more interesting things happening. It's a bit smokier. It doesn't smell, like I said, it doesn't smell linear where everything is blending together. You can kind of smell the differences, the aromatic touches, the spicy woods, and you know, all of the kind of smoky, kind of citrusy touches. And I think there's also LME resin here, which gives it a bit more of an ambery backbone. I quite like that. I prefer the à l'extrême much more than the original Encre Noir, but some people are partial to the original. I don't know why. And then we've got Le Parfum from Lalique for the ladies. A fragrance created by Dominique Ropion. It's kind of a green vanilla fragrance. A vanilla fragrance that has greener elements, I should say, not a green. The heck? By the way, the à l'extrême, Lalique à l'extrême is created by, I'm sorry, Encre Noir à l'extrême is created by Nathalie Lorson. But Le Parfum, Lalique Le Parfum, 100 ml for 30. And then the Encre Noir à l'extrême is 100 ml for 31. The Lalique Le Parfum is more of a vanilla. It's sweet and cozy, somewhat creamy and woody. But there are some light green elements running, you know, throughout it. To contrast and not make a super heavy, overwhelming, sweet kind of a fragrance. But there's a super coziness about this. So that is Lalique Le Parfum, Dominique Ropion creation, and $31 for that, or what did I say? $30 for that. And then we have Perles de Lalique. This one. This is another Nathalie Lorson fragrance. This also is a spicy rose fragrance that is somewhat reminiscent of something like Portrait of a Lady. But I think it's more of like a chypre style. I don't think it has the complexity of the Portrait of a Lady, but you will definitely get the idea of it. It's about patchouli, rose mostly. It's spicy, woody, and it's a chypre. It's 100 ml for $27. It's pretty sexy, I think. That's another ladies targeted offering. There's some smokiness in there. And then, last but not least, from Lalique, we've got White and Black. And this is created by Karine de Breuil-Sereni. If you've been waiting to buy Star by Mauboussin, Star for the guys, you can always get this because this is also very similar. And I do have Mauboussin coming up in a bit, but you can have both. They might have some light differences. But Lalique's White and Black is 125 ml for $44. In the end, yeah, it reminds us of Layton. And this one comes with a thing you can, a pencil you can write on the bottle. I don't know if the new ones do, but when this first came out, it did come with this white pencil. Yeah, it's a spicy, woody, vanilla fragrance. Very aromatic. But both Lalique and Mauboussin do some, you know, great cheapy alternatives, I think. And this is Karine de Breuil-Sereni, perfumer. Who's a fan of this one? Yep, we do have Mauboussin coming up here in a bit, but we've got, before we move on from this, but this Lalique White and Black, 125 ml for 44 bucks. Great deal for that. Really quality offering, I think. Now we're going to the house of Lanvin. I've got two fragrances, one for the guys, one for the ladies. Lanvin Oxygene and Oxygene Homme. We're going to talk about, I think somebody came into my studio to drop off something. Some of the shipment guys have keys so they can drop off some things. But let's move on. So this is Lanvin's Oxygene Femme. It's 75 ml for $22. This is a milky floral fragrance, milky woody floral. Cute bottle. I think it's gardenia. Yeah, you can smell the creaminess. I think the milk is there not to provide a gourmand touch, just to add a creamy element. Because I think this is not like the creamy, milky, lactonic gourmands that are very popular now. This came out in the 2000s. So at that time, I think they were used for different reasons. Just to make it much more creamy, smooth. Because I'm not smelling gourmand here. It's much more floral, a bit spicy, and of course, woody. So the Lanvin Oxygene Femme is 75 ml for $22. It's a cool looking bottle. When I first got into doing videos, there was a fragrance called Avant Garde for the guys. I missed that fragrance. I do have somewhat like a 3/4 full bottle. But Lanvin doesn't do much nowadays. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe they're going to have a resurgence and they'll start producing fragrances again. But let's move on to the Oxygene Homme, 100 ml for $19. Kind of a similar bottle, but not quite. Both of the fragrances are also created by Alberto Morillas, by the way. This is the Lanvin Oxygene Homme. And this is also focusing on cypress, which I think Alberto does a good job with. It's very aromatic and spicy and woody, but also very, very fresh. And you can really notice definitely notice the cypress note in here. It's really, really prominent. It comes off kind of green and aromatic, but not matching any herbs. It's got its own distinct smell, and it's freshened up and made fresher with the citruses that are in here. So the blend is really lovely. It kind of reminds me of Acqua di Parma's Cipresso. I wonder if he created that fragrance. Anyway, really great, solid cypress fragrance offering. Very fresh and woody and aromatic for the guys. And it's 19 bucks for 100 ml, so really super inexpensive. All right. I have a Liz Claiborne fragrance here called Curve Wave. You guys remember Liz Claiborne? This fragrance was super fizzy and bubbly. It's almost like a special fizzy drink. That's one of those high-end fizzy drinks that are very popular. Comes in like these really unique bottles. But to me, I get aldehydic touches from this. And so I think that's what's giving me the idea of a fizzy drink. But it's very bubbly, very invigorating, fresh, citrusy. And again, like the idea of a very interesting fizzy drink. Sweet, spicy, citrusy, herbal, and of course, aldehydic. And the aldehydes also almost, not quite almost, gives me a little bit of the idea of incense also. It's a fun fragrance. Nothing like the original Curve, but Curve Wave. It's fun. This is currently 13 bucks for 125 ml. Definitely the aldehydes are prominent in that. So be warned, if you're not a fan of aldehydes, stay away. But I get aldehydes from it quite a bit. And then we've got Lolita Lempica's Homme. I wanted to feature the ladies edition of Lolita Lempica, but it's more than 50 bucks. Remember, this list is $50 and under. And Lolita Olympica Homme used to be called Homme Masculine, created by Annick Menardo. And it's a soft, spicy fragrance offering. There's a lot of spices here, but what it's known for is the licorice and anise note. And it's got that unique, distinct smell. And if you've ever had licorice or anise, you're kind of familiar with what you're going to get here. In the end, it's kind of almondy nutty and super licoricey nutty and powdery. It's pretty classy. I do enjoy this note. It's not found often in fragrances, and I think some people do not like it. So maybe it's a bit of a polarizing note, but I grew up with it, so I quite like licorice anise as a smell and also a fragrance. My favorite fragrance of all time that featured licorice and anise is Be Men from Mugler, but this is definitely up there also. But that is Lolita Olympica Homme 100 ml, $32. And then we've got Mandarina Dux Black. And this is also another Nathalie Lorson creation. The Black Extreme was so awesome, but the black is also nice. This does remind me a little bit of the Allure series. It reminds me a little bit of the Uden from Xerjoff. It's kind of that tonka-ish, sweet, citrusy combo. But Nathalie Lorson does some great fragrances. I really like the way this smells. Definitely reminds me of Uden, though. Uden, Allure Homme. If you can get your hands on the Extreme, I highly recommend it. The Mandarina Duck Black Extreme, but the Eau de Toilette should satisfy. All right, I'm going to pause the video here, and I'm going to switch out fragrances. All right, we've got almost half a page left on the third page, and we don't have a full fourth page. So we're going to start here. We're in the M's. We're going to go to the house of Mauboussin. We've got 4 fragrances, 2 for the guys, 2 for the ladies. We'll start with the ladies first. Always ladies first. Mauboussin Star for women, 90 ml, $30. Super inexpensive, powdery, woody vanilla. Super cozy, beautiful bottle. Mauboussin always makes great fragrances. I remember the first time I discovered Mauboussin was in around 2012 when I first started the channel. And they had this woody incense fragrance that I was constantly promoting on the channel. A lot of folks discovered it. Then they really fell in love with it. And then that fragrance kind of discontinued and disappeared. I'm forgetting the name of it, but I'll pull it out sometime soon. And I think I'll do a video on Mauboussin fragrances, perhaps, because I think they deserve it. But this fragrance here, I think there's a slight coconuttiness with the Lady Star, but it's quite dry and powdery, but it's also very cozy, super cozy, lightly spicy, maybe lightly coconutty, almondy, or nutty, but amber, woods, and lots of vanilla. It's sweet, but not over the top sweet, but really nicely done. So that is Star for the Ladies by Mauboussin, and it's $30. For the ladies, it's $30. For the guys, it's $22. Star for men. I still have to try Star for the ladies. Cherie, I think it's called. If anybody has experience with it, let me know. Add a comment below. But here's the men's Star. Who's tried this? Who's a fan of Mauboussin, by the way? If you guys don't know Mauboussin, it's a jewelry house from France. And it seems like every fragrance that they release, it's a 90 ml bottle, not 100. But they do have really great deals. And this Star for the guys or for men, it's another fragrance created by Corinne de Brul-Sereni, who also did White and Black. They're also kind of similarly inspired by Leighton by PDM or Parfums de Marly. But this version, in comparison to the Lalique version, seems a bit more darker, a bit more ambery, maybe a bit more earthy as well. Like maybe like there's a bit of overdose of patchouli in there. But both of these are great. In fact, the guys can wear the ladies and the ladies can wear the guys. I don't think they're super very gender specific. Anyway, the Star series is great from Mauboussin. Try and get them if you can. I've recommended them quite a bit, and I really love Mabusson fragrances. And if I travel to France all the time as well, I never see, I mean, I walk past their stores, their jewelry stores. I never see their fragrances in their stores. Never even run into their stores. The only place I get them is at the discounters in the States. But there's 2 more fragrances from Mabusson. So the first one is Une Histoire de Femme Sensuelle, 90 ml for 22. And we've got Une Histoire de Homme Irrésistible, 90 ml for 30. So in this case, the men's is more expensive than the woman's. And with the star, the woman's is more expensive than the men's. Let's talk about the woman's first. This is a musky, powdery, floral thing. If you like musky, powdery fragrances, I definitely try this one. Floral for sure. It's a bit makeup-y and a bit rosy as well. But there's a lactonic powdery quality about it. But it's very, very musky. This one's definitely feminine. It also has a baby powder kind of a smell. Anybody into musky, powdery fragrances should enjoy this one. There is a little bit of sweetness in there. I think there is a little bit of a slight gourmand note in there. But that is Une Histoire de Femme Sensuelle. And then, of course, the men's I've recommended quite a bit. It sells out all the time. This thing sells out so fast. It's such a great deal. It's a green woody fragrance with citruses and fig notes. And this is Une Histoire de Homme Irrésistible. I remember when I first got my hands on this, I did a video. It completely sold out at all the discounters because it was a great deal during the pandemic. A great fragrance for about 30 bucks. I think it was actually around 40 bucks when I first did the video. But I've come back to it and recommended it over and over again. I've done shorts on all the Mabusson fragrances that I'm talking about here. Not all, probably 3 of them. This is really great. It's figs, bergamot, and woods. Fresh, green, woody, citrusy. Perfect fragrance. Everyday fragrance. I really love it. It's a great one. Almost as good as Bentley for Men Intense, which I don't have here. I decided to leave off Bentley for this video. I could have featured it. But maybe if I do a part 2 of this, we'll do Bentley. But this one, Une Histoire de Homme Irrésistible, is definitely one of my favorite, all-time favorite cheapy fragrances for the guys. And also very modern, I should say. So that's the end of Mabusson. Let's move on to Mercedes-Benz. First, Mercedes-Benz Air. Air is currently 100 ml for 30. This one actually, it's kind of very airy, ethereal. And what I like about it is there's like anise type notes, or it's more like green absinthe-like notes, I should say. But it's more like Artemisia is coming in here, because it's got very aromatic qualities. So it's very fresh and there's an ice cold quality about it, and very airy and ethereal. So it's kind of simplistic. It could be perfect everyday scent for a guy with a slight green aromatic twist to it. It's a little bit powdery too, but also very ice cold. It smells really great. It's my favorite of this series of Mercedes-Benz fragrances. Air, 30 bucks. I think it's made for the guys, but I think a woman can totally wear it, just like this next one. Mercedes-Benz Club Black, 47 bucks for 100 ml. I still haven't got my nose on the Eau de Parfum version of this, but the Eau de Toilette version is so good. It's very unisex for a masculine targeted offering. Super cozy, spicy, woody vanilla fragrance. That's basically what it is. Simplistic, but complex. Woody and spicy. Syrupy and vanilla, but also powdery. Syrupy and vanillic is what I was going to say. And there's a booziness in there. The vanilla is the boozy kind. It's so delicious. One of the best cheapies for sure. Great scent, and it's under $50, $47 for 100 ml. So that's those are the two fragrances from Mercedes-Benz. We're going to the House of Mont Blanc next. We've got several fragrances from Mont Blanc. First of which is Explorer Platinum, 100 ml for $40. It's different than Explorer. Explorer I couldn't add to this list because it was definitely more than 50. But this is Explorer Platinum. This is a bit more amber woody. And I find it to be reminiscent of some other niche fragrances, but I can't pinpoint it. And it doesn't remind me of Aventus like the original Explorer does. But there's also something sexy about this that I like wearing. It's a designer. It's a bit amber woody, like I said, but not your typical amber woods. There's a dusty powdery about it. Is this created by the Givaudan perfumer? What is his name? Not Quentin Biche, but who's the second? The one that's like coming off his footsteps as being the next best Givaudan perfumer. I think it's created by him. Jordi Fernandez. Is it Jordi Fernandez? I can't quite remember. It kind of reminds me of some of the work he's done. But that is Mont Blanc's Explorer Platinum. $30 for 100 ml. Now we're going to the Legend series. We've got Legend in the original, the black. It's an Eau de Toilette, and it's 100 ml for $42. It's quite a simplistic, easy to wear, woody, spicy, aromatic fragrance for the guys. Very fresh. There's a spiciness, of course, aromatics, and woods. Nothing groundbreaking, but very pleasant and also very inexpensive. 100 ml for $43 is quite a great price for sort of a luxury, not at the level of Dior or YSL, but, you know, still kind of a luxurious watchmaker, jewelry maker. And then we've got the Mont Blanc's Legend Blue. Yeah, this is more of a blue take on a fragrance, but wanted to recommend it. It's more on the kind of aquatic direction, but there's lavender here, sandalwood, and, you know, spices and things like that. It doesn't smell like Y by YSL or even that Drakkar Blue I was talking about earlier. I kind of like this a little bit more. It doesn't have that trademark smell, but it's there. It's not as strong as the Drakkar Blue or Y, though. That's Legend Blue from the House of Mont Blanc. That one is currently selling for $49 for 100 ml. So these are definitely all under $100. I'm sorry, under $50. And everything is tagged as I'm talking about them. Everything as much as I can. Some of the fragrances obviously will not be selling and can't tag those, but I'm tagging as much as I can. I think the limitation is 60 products on YouTube, so I'll do my best to tag as much of these fragrances as I can. But if you don't see your favorite fragrance I'm talking about tagged, click on another one and go there and search for the product to see if it's there. But let's move on to Moschino. And I've got a video shot of the Toy Boy 2, which is, as you can see here, I'll air that very soon. But Toy Boy, the original, is 100 ml for $44. Great price. And I'll give you a little bit of a clue. I kind of prefer this one more than the new one, but stay tuned for my video. This is fun, fruity, musky, floral. It's got pear, which is juicy. You can totally notice it. There's a lot of musky notes in this. There's a bit of rose, amber woods, but kind of a clever fragrance for the first Moschino men's fragrance in a long time. Toy Boy. Now we've got Toy Boy 2. It's a night and day difference, by the way. So stay tuned for my video. But I quite like this one. This one's really a nice offering from the house of Moschino. Toy Boy, 100 ml for 44. And then Toy 2. This is the ladies. But I think it's not super femme. This is 100 ml for 43. The original toy was a teddy bear, like a real teddy bear, which I wish I could get my hands on one, but obviously it came and went so fast. Then they made these kind of glass teddy bears. This to me is a kind of a fruity, light, fresh tea, spicy kind of an offering. I don't think it's very feminine, but some people might think it's feminine. I think it's quite unisex, including the men's Toy Boy. I think it's quite unisex. I think the ladies does lean a bit femme, and then the masculine does lean a bit masculine, but I think they're not super masculine, super femme, if that makes sense. I like both. So Toy 2, 100 ml for 43. Toy Boy, the original, 100 ml for 44. Up next, going to the house of Nautica, it's Voyage, or Voyage. It's a great quality aquatic fragrance, fruity crisp, created by Maurice Roussel. It's crisp, it's green, it's juicy, it's watery, simplistic and easy to wear, maybe a bit metallic and sharp as well. But thankfully, it's not marine, you know? All right, normally I shoot my videos in the evenings when there aren't any deliveries being made. But for some reason, I had to shoot this video during the day, and I've had multiple interruptions. So the delivery drivers usually have a key. Not all of them, some of them, and they can... It's like the studio is like 2 rooms. There's like a waiting room kind of a thing, because I think it was originally a psychiatrist. And so they have a key to that room, and they drop off packages, which is kind of cool. But normally when I shoot videos, I'm shooting at night and there's no interruptions. But unfortunately today there's been a couple, and also a lot of bottles falling down. But yeah, Nautica Voyage, definitely one of the best cheapies. I like it. It's not like, oh my God, the best fragrance, but definitely worth recommending here. So that's Nautica Voyage, 100 ml for 16 bucks. Check it out if you don't know that one. Let's move on to 3 Nikos Parfums fragrances. Unfortunately, Nikos Parfums Sculpture Parfum, I can't find discounted anymore. It's kind of out of stock, but I recommend it. It comes in a blue bottle. But these flankers to the Sculpture series are definitely worth it as well, with the last one being my favorite. But let me talk to you about Air de Lune first. Air de Lune is a kind of a musky fragrance. Well, it's interesting. This is actually male targeted. The first 2 are male targeted, and the last one is feminine targeted. And I think all of them are unisex. So a woman can totally pull these off. This is just slightly old school, masculine, musky, giving me like the idea of, I don't know, like a modern take on Kouros or something. It's sweet, it's spicy. And behind it, there's a musk that kind of hints a little bit at Kouros. But I wouldn't say this smells like Kouros. Just reminds me a little bit of it. So this is Air de Lune. The name just doesn't make sense. The color also doesn't make sense for me. But I think it's definitely worth it if you like the series and the fragrances and you want something inexpensive, but also a bit musky and a little old school. Now the next one, the Reverie, is the cherry focused one. Both of these 2 are $50 for 100 ml. The last one, which is my favorite, is cheaper, and we'll get to that in a minute. This is kind of a leathery, saffrony, fruity rose fragrance, I think. This is definitely much better than the first one. But you definitely have fruitiness and rose with the leathery saffron. Quite good. It's got cherry, but it doesn't smell like lost cherry, honestly, so don't be worried about that. I think they've just added a fruity twist. But that's quite good. That's 100 ml for 50. And now, honestly, my favorite is this one, which is weirdly targeted. Like the first two are male targeted, and for some reason, Voyage en Orient is targeted for the ladies. And I think it's only because they've used the advertising imagery with a woman on it, so somehow they've made it a woman's fragrance, but it's unisex. It smells like a creamy, zingy take on Tobacco Vanille. This is Sculpture Voyage en Orient, 100 ml, $40. Yeah, it's so yummy. It's so good for 40 bucks. Really, really worth it. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend this one. If you are a fan of Tobacco Vanille, you've got to get this because the ginger seems amped up, and below and beneath all of the tobacco-ish ambery touches, there's a creamy consistency. It's warm, spicy, lots of amber, tobacco, resins, you know, creamy goodness. I don't know if you guys have ever had custard. There's a custard, like imagine like a milky custard sprinkled with a lot of cinnamon on it. That's the consistency I get with Sculpture Voyage en Orient. So for 40 bucks, 100 ml, it's totally unisex and also very, very affordable. Really awesome scent. That's my favorite of the three I just spoke to you about. Then we've got an old school fragrance by Oscar de la Renta. It's called Pour Louis, 90 ml for 18 bucks. Yeah, I've thrown in some budget offerings in this video, and this is definitely one of the best. It's a leathery style offering in a super awesome looking bottle, as you can see. This is 90 ml for $18. And so it's almost like capturing the clean and the dirty together. There's definitely a dirty, leathery quality, but I pick up something clean and soapy and citrusy aromatic, and then like mixed together with a dirty side, like leather and animalic and all that good stuff. But you really awesome scent. To me, I discovered it like 4 years ago. Well, I had known about this for a long time. I just bought this bottle about 40 years ago. I'm not 40 years ago, 4 years ago. And oh man, it's good. And I think what I'm liking about this is the reformulation is not that bad. That's what's really excites me. The reformulation is not that bad. The Pour Louis by Oscar de la Renta. Check it out. This is distributed by Interparfums still. Interparfums, remember I was mentioning with the Dunhill, they were dropped. So would they just, would they drop Oscar de la Renta as well? I don't know. But next is another fragrance that I had to feature here that I fell in love with. So it might be a bit more difficult for somebody in the States to get this, but I bought this at the Mueller's shop in Germany earlier in 2025, and I was surprised at how great it is. This is a brand called Otto Kern. This is Signature Extreme. I wish I bought the larger bottle. I'm not sure if I'll be going back to Germany anytime soon, but it's kind of distantly related to something like Le Male, but Le Male came out in the mid-90s. This is more like the 2000s take on something like that. So I feel like there's tonka here, there's amber, there's lavendery aromatics, there's spices, there's sweet notes. It's so good. And I paid 15 euros for a 30 ml at the Mueller's store, and I should have bought a larger bottle. I mean, I smelled it in the store and liked it. I didn't think I was going to like it when I brought it back and started wearing it. It's good. I really need to get another bottle of this before I can start using this 30 ml. But those of you that are in Germany and have access to the Mueller stores, and you're not like you're okay with cheap fragrances, I highly recommend you try it. It's really good. It's also warm, spicy now that I think about it. It's almost like a juxtaposition of warmth and freshness together. It's a nice contrast. The original was okay. I think I have the original too I bought, but the Extreme is where it's at. Lovely, lovely fragrance. So that is Otto Kern Signature Extreme, 30 ml, 15 euros. Great price. But let's move on to Paul Sebastian PS Fine Cologne, 120 ml for 20 bucks. And a great rediscovery of this. I wore it in the early 90s. Really loved it then. Then I got tired of it because I was interested in some more modern, you know, to that era fragrances, because this launched in the late 70s. And now that I've come back to this, I really appreciate how great it is. And they've kept it pretty decent for a reformulation and a fragrance that's been around since the late 70s. It's musky, it's aromatic, it's ambery, it's woody, spicy, and a compliment getter, yeah. I just totally, when I put my nose to this, it takes me right back to the early 90s when I wore it for the first time. I mean, up until then, I knew about it, but I'd never worn it. But I kind of got talked into buying it in the early 90s, and I couldn't get enough of it. This was around the time I was also wearing Versace Versus Safari by Ralph Lauren, Carolina Herrera's first men's fragrance, Paco Rabanne Excess. Those were the fragrances I was wearing around this time. But a great scent. That is Paul Sebastian PS Fine Cologne, 120 ml for 20 bucks. I think I skipped the fragrance. All right, next we've got a fragrance from the house of Penguin. It's Premium Blend. Premium Blend, batch number 2. Are you guys familiar with this? I actually discovered this recently at a store, and I was like, this smells really great for what you're paying for it. It's $30 for 100 ml, but I paid like, what is it, $18 for this? I can't find it online for that price, but $30 is also really great for this. It's warm and, not warm, it's fresh and spicy, but with a little bit of a creamy warmth under there. It kind of hints at Azzaro, the Azzaro metallic fragrance, but not as metallic as that, like sharp. This is like a bit more smooth and creamy, but I think the notes are very aromatic. It's quite pleasant, and I actually really love the kind of retro-ish bottle as well. So that's Penguin Premium Blend, 100 ml for $30. And next we've got Près de Provence number 63, 100 ml for $40. And this is a men's fragrance. Well, both of these have been men's fragrances, the last one and this one, and maybe a few before as well. This is actually kind of a take on Spice Bomb. It's tobacco-ish, it's warm, spicy, it's vanillic, and it's ambery. And I kind of like this a little bit more than the Spice Bomb. I like Spice Bomb. I think I don't love it that much. I really love the Silver Musk one. And I think I like the original Extreme more. But this gives me that idea, but it's a bit smoother. And it's also a little bit more leaning towards tobacco vanille rather than Spice Bomb. Spice Bomb, I think, is very peppery. And I think that's what kind of throws me off a little bit. This one doesn't have the pepperiness as much. It has the warm spices. But definitely really awesome scent for 40 bucks. This is Près de Provence number 63, 100 ml for $40. Now, this is a brand I haven't spoken much about in a long time. This is Prince Machiavelli New Musk, 84 ml for $25. And it's a musk that's very fresh, by the way. It's clean. I mean, it's for men, but I think a woman can totally pull this off. I think it's for somebody that doesn't like a lot of different, things in a fragrance. I'm too busy with notes, too challenging to wear day in and day out. But they want some scent that doesn't like get in the way of their work life, their personal life, their evening life, and things like that. It makes you smell great. It's fresh and citrusy and also clean and musky. It's simplistic, and I think it's basically white musk, but it does say fresh cologne spray. Who's familiar with this? Let me know. Add a comment below. That's pretty cheap. It's 84 ml, which is a weird size. I don't get it. All right, up next, going to the house of Ralph Lauren. I've got two fragrances here from Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren. This is Polo Cologne Intense. So this came out around 2021. And it's 100 ml, 120 ml for $42. This is actually a 237 ml bottle. It'll be a collector's item once the juice is finished. It's too bad you can't refill it. No. But it's the famous, it's not the green one, that's the original. This is a bit more of like a muted kind of grayish green. But what they've done here is made it crisp and fresh. Very cologne-like. But once again, we're dealing with violet leaves-like notes here. There's a pulpy effect. There's grapefruit in here as well. And it's very fresh, citrusy, aromatic, and of course woody. It's not as animalic as the original. They just made it more accessible for people to wear easily in and out. I think it's pleasant, everyday kind of a easygoing fragrance that's sort of paying tribute to the original but not smelling anything like it, you know? So that is Ralph Lauren Polo Cologne Intense 120 ml bottle for $42. I do have to stress the fact that it is very pulpy. It acts very citrusy pulpy, which kind of like a fun wearing experience. Then a unisex offering from Ralph Lauren. It's Polo Earth, 100 ml for $41. And if you like fragrances like Mugler Cologne, you're going to like this. It's basically a citrusy, aromatic, green, citrus floral fragrance. And very unisex offering. So it's made for both guys and the ladies. But if you like Mugler Cologne, you're going to really appreciate this. It's kind of in that same ballpark. I think this is a bit more... it's a bit more similar to Neroli Portofino and 4711. Mugler Cologne has a very distinct smell that makes it very original. This one, it's easy to mix up with a lot of other similar style fragrances, but it's not to say it's bad or anything. It still smells really great. I love citrus florals, and I love wearing these kind of fragrances when it's extremely hot, but it does remind me of other fragrances, whereas the Mugler Cologne DNA is quite original. There's something in it that doesn't remind me of other similar kind of fragrances, is what I'm trying to say. But 100 ml for $41 is a great price for Polo Earth from Ralph Lauren. So those are the last two the only two fragrances from Ralph Lauren. We've got two from the house of Rocha. First of which is Rocha Man Intense. So this is an intense take. Like, so many years later, they decided to come out with an intense version of this fragrance. And it makes the original a bit more complex, a little more thicker and dense. I think this came out around the same time or a little after the fragrance La Male came out. And it's kind of a similar idea with the addition of coffee, because I think it's got lavender, like a milky cappuccino-like note. So it's kind of gourmand, sweet, but still aromatic, spicy, maybe a little bit barbershop-y, fougere-like, but more like an amber fougere. But it's a great smell. It takes me back to the late 90s for sure. This was quite popular for a long time. And when I was first starting to talk about fragrances, and before, like in 2012, and before that I was watching videos and there were only a few guys talking about fragrances. This fragrance was not this version, but the original version was quite talked about or spoken about. I don't think the Intense version caught on as much. I think it was like it launched really late. I don't recall there ever been a flanker of the original prior to this. I could be wrong though. I didn't keep up with the flankers of this series, but not much talk about this one, unfortunately, but it's quite quality. It's much deeper than the original. And even though I would say it's not like super, super deep, but if you're looking for this fragrance, get the Intense version, because you can get it for 100 ml, $35. Quite nice. And then, of course, I am going to recommend this one too, Moustache from Rocha. The Eau de Parfum version, guys, not the Eau de Toilette. They're night and day different fragrances. And I still need to replace my bottle. But the Eau de Toilette is a different fragrance created by Edmond Rudnitska. It's in the style of a vintage citrus, like Eau Sauvage. This is like completely different. Thankfully, I have the redo of Moustache. When they launched this version, they re-released the original Moustache. I have it. I love it. It's old school. This version is creamy woods, earthy woods, aromatics, sweet vanillic notes, and I think reminiscent of something like Tuxedo from YSL. But a super original smell, I think. YSL's Le Vestiaire collection, I really love. YSL signature line, on the other hand, I'm not the biggest fan of. But they do, like the Le Vestiaire collection is really quite solid, I think. They have some great offerings. And if you can't afford the Le Vestiaire collection Tuxedo, I think Moustache would totally satisfy. All right, so Moustache EDP, 125 ml for $37. Rocha Man Intense, 100 ml for $35. So really inexpensive fragrances for great quality offerings. Let's move on to the first and only celebrity fragrance. And I'm talking about Sarah Jessica Parker's Stash SJP, 100 ml, $30. For a while, around 2020, 21, there was no stock of this fragrance to be found anywhere. All of a sudden, it's like there's all kinds of stock out there. I don't know if they were not producing it or what happened, but Stash SJP is definitely one of the best celebrity fragrances, if not the best celebrity fragrance. It's also quite unisex, if not masculine leaning, which is also very interesting. But it's a very creamy take on woods. There's green aromatics, slightly nutty notes and things like that. Pistachio, stash. But I think it's the highlight of the Masoya wood that's in here. It's super creamy and cozy. For sure, it's really, really lovely. If you are more into the woody, spicy, aromatic fragrances, definitely check this one out. It's not feminine at all. Because it has a woman's name on the fragrance, it's a celebrity, a female celebrity. This fragrance is super, super masculine leaning. Anyway, that is Stash SJP from Sarah Jessica Parker. It's the only fragrance I know of hers. And I know she came out with a bunch of fragrances last year. I haven't seen them anywhere. I kind of want to do a blind buy and get some of the new fragrances she came out with. There were 3 fragrances that were 3 different colors, a green, a blue, and a kind of a purple. Forgot their names. I saw them and I announced them in videos, but I haven't got my nose on them. But let's move on from Sarah Jessica Parker to Swiss Arabian. First of which is Oud Tonka, this one right here. This was a recent blind buy and really happy with it. It's Tonka to the max. This is Bitter Almondy Tonka. It's 75 ml for $40. So it's not necessarily 100 ml, but it also doesn't smell like a designer fragrance. It smells like something not from a designer offering, if that makes sense. But you gotta love the bitterness of the Tonka, which is quite almondy. It's sweet, spicy, maybe lightly ambery, or yeah, there's some amber. And they do mention oud here. I'm not picking up the oud as much, but it'll come through in the dry down. Great color to the bottle as well. That's definitely one of my favorites now. I'm trying to slowly acquire and buy their fragrances in the Shaghaf series so I can do a video. I didn't realize there were so many out there. But this is a Vanilla Toffee, Shaghaf Vanilla Toffee, probably my favorite of the bunch. I really love its gourmand qualities. This is 75 ml for $42. This is spicy, nutty, vanillic, toffee, milky, all of these things. It's a delicious gourmand, I think, where it's not super over the top sweet. It just smells really, really lovely. But I think they did a great job on this one. Let me know your thoughts. That is Swiss Arabian Shaghaf Vanilla Toffee, 75 ml, $42. Yeah, it's delicious. That is a really delicious fragrance. More delicious than the Tonka, but the Tonka is also great. They also have the honey one, which is also great. I didn't feature it here today, but that's also a solid one. Let's move on to the house of Toast. This is Toast Man Chill. So Toast Man Chill, it's a Spanish jewelry house, I believe. That's what they do. Is it jewelry or accessories? There's two I've got here from the same series. The Chill is pleasant, but I prefer the Sport much more. But this is kind of citrusy and kind of green, and also a bit marine aquatic. But to me, it smells like a cocktail that's consumed at the sea. So you have that sea breeze and this kind of a citrusy fruitiness that you're consuming and smelling the sea at the same time. Also kind of bordering like the blue series of fragrances. There's a little bit of that DNA in here as well. So Toast Man Chill, 100 ml, $32. But the Sport Edition, I think, is really pleasant. This is 100 ml, $29. This, to me, is also fizzy. I think this fragrance has aldehydes in it, and aldehydes always comes off fizzy. It's like almost like a fizzy soda that's laced with a citrusy orange touch. It's fun. It's fun and playful. And I think it's the aldehydic touches that I'm getting here that gives you that sporty edge. But it's fun, soda-like, sweet, a little spicy, very fizzy, uplifting. I prefer the Toast Man Sport more than the Chill, but both of them are pretty solid. Okay, going to the house of Versace, it's the Dreamer. Yep, the Dreamer from the late 90s, 100 ml, $36. This is the reformulated version. The original launched in the late 90s. I wore the original. I had received it as a gift, actually. Really liked it. It's more of a leafy tobacco fragrance. And for sure, it's gotten much lighter. This is super, super light. But I think originally as a fragrance, it was a very unique offering. To me, it was a bit like a tobacco-ish take on a fougere style fragrance. I think it's lost a little bit of its intensity, but still the reminder of the fragrance is there, and you'll be reminded of how it used to be. Because they reformulated it, I think, in 2010, but they kept it, which is nice. It's a great scent. And, classy, masculine, a bit warm, spicy, kind of aromatic, and then, of course, the leafiness of the tobacco. It's an Eau de Toilette, but I think it's definitely one of the best that Versace has ever done. And I love their little logo on the front there. During that time also, they had the blue, like the jeans series. I think the red and the blue are still in existence, but I had the baby blue jeans. I still have a bottle up there somewhere. I had the green jeans, black jeans. All of these jeans series fragrances were around, and really enjoyed them. But thankfully, they still have the Dreamer, and it's still, you know, solid. Pretty solid. I wouldn't say it's like in its best condition. All right, let's move on to the House of Victorinox. We've got Black Steel here. This is a Daphne Bouget creation, and I think it's definitely one of the best that I'm talking about here. It's warm, spicy, and also very woody, aromatic, lightly smoky, and ambery. But it's definitely very gentlemanly and classy. It's a masculine offering. And it's super, super cheap. 100 ml, $12, guys. Wow. I've recommended this one quite a bit. I think it's a solid offering for a really inexpensive price. But, you know, it's an acquired taste, and this hobby is very subjective. I like this one, and I've recommended it quite a bit on the channel. What I wanted to do here is make sure most of the fragrances you can still buy, and they're quality and affordable. Black Steel from the House of Victorinox. If I didn't have money to buy fragrances, I would totally wear that. I mean, honestly, I would totally wear them. And I do wear them every once in a while. Let's go to Victorinox First Snow, 100 ml, $15. This is for the ladies. Wow, it's a bit milky. This is 100 ml, $15. The Black Steel was $12 for 100 ml. I think the bottle is this color. Yeah, the bottle is made like that. It's a soft, powdery, musky, crisp, fresh fragrance to kind of give you the idea of first frost, first snow, and things like that. It's not much warm. It's also kind of soapy. I prefer the Black Steel, obviously, because I've recommended that one quite a bit. But I think if you're looking for something in this style, First Snow acts very pleasant. All right, then Morning Dew, also for the ladies. 100 ml for $15 once again. Who's a fan of the house, this house's fragrances? Everything seems very, very cheap, by the way. Very inexpensive. This is very aquatic. It's called Morning Dew. It's fresh. It's floral. Like imagine the dew on, you know, flowers that are in the garden or something. Very fresh, aromatic, floral, aquatic. Not marine, thankfully. I like this one better than First Snow, but definitely leans feminine. I think there's also some citruses in here to freshen it up more. Morning Dew. $15 is a nice price for that. That's totally wearable. First Snow is not my all-time favorite. I already mentioned that. And then the last one we're going to talk about is Rock. Rock is created by Canton Biche. Yes, it's created by Canton Biche. It's leathery, it's spicy, warm spice, and also fresh spice, and maybe a little bit of animalic spice. Definitely it's got his signature, but earlier on, not like post Ganymede, but probably I mean, it's also a designer offering. It's not like super edgy, but you've got a fresh take on leather and spices, basically. It's kind of adventurous and bold, but very fresh. I like this one too. So this is the Swiss Army knife, if you guys aren't aware. And these are all Eau de Toilettes. That's why they're also very inexpensive. I think the Rock is the most expensive at $21. All right, last but not least, we're going to end with a ladies offering. This is XOXO Mi Amore. Don't know much about this brand. Somebody recommended it and I bought it. And I'm surprised at the quality. It's cheap presentation, but as a smell, it smells pretty darn good. 100 ml, $20. It's a gourmand fragrance. For some reason, it's fruity, it's sweet, it's spicy, and candied. But totally fun and very young, very energetic and young. Not mature, not serious, just very playful. It's quite fruity though. It's juicy, fruity, sweet and spicy, and the idea of caramelly candy, like sweet, sticky candy. But I feel like there's warmth and contrasted with the freshness of the fruits, so it's a nice balance. Yeah, totally, really inexpensive for this one. $20 for this. I know nothing about it, and some of you guys recommended it, and I took the chance. I do buy things that you guys recommend. So anyway, that's the last fragrance. 100 fragrances. Then this is XOXO Mi Amore, 100 ml for $20. Okay, so we did it. 100 fragrances under $50. Which of these fragrances are your favorites? Which do you already own? Which are you going to buy? Which of these have you already bought? Let me know, add a comment below. And thank you so much for watching this video today. Another deep dive of 100 fragrances on a Saturday. Let me know what deep dive videos you want to see in the future. I'm working on a Dominique Ropion, but I'm waiting for some fragrances. That was going to be the video today. But sadly, it didn't happen. I don't have the fragrances. And I actually last minute ordered more fragrances for the video. But the guy has so many fragrances. And I already had like about 95 fragrances from him here in the studio. So I already had plenty. And I'm ordering more to make it 100. It might even be more than 100. But stay tuned for that. But there's going to be a few more videos coming up also on more of a wider, more topic like 100 fragrances you must get your nose on before you die, or 100 masterpiece fragrances created by master perfumers and things like that. So stay tuned. But if you have any ideas, what you want to see, send an email to the email address that's in the info box so I can find out what you want to see, and or add a comment here and hopefully I can catch it. I've been very, very busy lately working on a project, so which shall be announced, but some of you already know, so don't share it publicly yet. But there is a project I'm working on that I will announce very, very soon. I'm excited for it. But yeah, let me know what kind of deep dive videos you want to see. Add a comment below if you have any topics or genres or themes. Do let me know, because I do have quite a bit lined up, but I want to know if there's something more exciting that you guys are interested in seeing. And last but not least, if you haven't subscribed to my channel here, please subscribe. Click the bell icon so you'll be notified for future videos. And please don't forget to subscribe to my new shorts channel. I'm waiting for the 1,000 subscribers so I can post videos there. So please, it's linked in the info box. It's the Perfume Guy shorts. And again, as soon as I get to the 1,000 subscribers there, plus I'll start posting content there. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please give a thumbs up for this video, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.